Okay, so here we are, Encinitas Mindfulness Community on Tuesday. I think it's now the 14th. I just got my new driver's license yesterday at the DMV in line, and uh, the lovely gentleman taking the picture said, "Oh, you look better than you did even before." And I thought, well, that's how he knows I'm older. He feels like he owes me a compliment. Okay, thank you so much. And the truth is, I am better. I am better than I was before. It's 100% correct. And I hope that whatever it was that he saw, maybe what he felt was uh, that sense of greater uh, ease, greater stability, greater kindness, greater commitment to care, to compassion uh, than before. And he would be correct. He would be correct. And one of the things I frequently say, if anybody's ever heard me uh, talk about my grandmother, Irene, uh, she was consistently throughout my life and all the way to her 91st year, which was the year of her death, the most beautiful woman that I ever knew and that I ever saw. And that beauty uh, radiated, of course, right through the wrinkles, right? Right through the crow's feet, right through the cataracts, right? Whatever was happening. Uh, so that I know, I know what people mean, and I know what we all want as well. And so that's nothing about whatever might be in appearance as an external quality. It really is what we get to rest in then in our own lives. It is the protection, the shelter, the guard, the sentinel of our own well being, right? Of our own happiness. So it isn't really whatever anybody else might see. And I'm very certain, absolutely certain, that it can be felt. Aren't you? You know this. And I'm absolutely certain that it's irresistible as well. And not from a greed or lust or gotta right point of view, but from the side of, I want that too. I want that. I want that stability, or I want that open heartedness, or right. And the beauty of a Sangha then is that we see those qualities as constant reminders in each other about the things we're all growing. And I had a real opportunity to see that, though I was running around the whole time last Thursday. I did that on purpose because I wanted to see where, how do we do this well? How do we be even more responsive, even more caring, even making this the least work for us with the greatest benefit to our friends. And we came up with a lot that we're going to talk about in our board meeting on next Monday, as well as share with you all and get your feedback as well. And one of the things I kept noticing in that was uh, the gentle care, the radiance, the appreciation, not really even by our those receiving the food, but those serving it. Uh, you looked more grateful. You looked happier. You had more ease. It's a fact, isn't it? For anybody who was there, it's just a complete fact. And I thought, this is the truth of it. Our happiness does come from the happiness, the well being, and the ease of others. It's just not debatable. It was so in evidence uh, there. And so we are committed. And then I'm going to talk about that second knot that we've tied in our strings. And for those of you who didn't get one, I hope uh, you will in weeks to come. We have several more here, or you made one as Lynn did with her scarf. Then we look at in those knots, the first knot being the actual refuge points that one of which I've just named, the Sangha itself, the teachings, the truth of this life, seeing it clearly, holding it intently, being unwavering as it relates to the truth, even when we don't like the truth. One of the things I've noticed is if you don't get humble on the path, you're not doing it correctly, right? You're just not doing it correctly because there's just no way to be successful in this. I got an A, I got an A minus, you're just getting an F left and right. And then the harsh thought, and then I said it anyway, and then I committed and I didn't show up. Uh, right? And so and I don't think that's wrong or bad. I think that's just the path. By the way, I'm expecting all of us to get an F. By the way, and I love that because what I know that means is that we're trying. That we're trying to do it better. That we're trying to be more skillful. That we're right, and then we just keep setting the bar. Like, no, not with a little more ease, with a little more appreciation, with a little more gratitude, with a little more humility. Let's do it. And so that every moment before becomes a kind of just curriculum, right? A coursework for the moment we're in. And then we don't abandon that aspiration that we talked about in that first knot. We don't abandon it. Even then, we just keep going, even when it's not has not yet reached its greatest proportion. I hope the day never comes. And I mean this, where you have reached your fullest potential. Because I don't even know what that would mean. That you quit, you don't have to keep, right? Somehow it would be failed by itself. I got it now, which is why the word enlightenment always uh, causes me some kind of distress. We're all enlightening each other and ourselves, and that I hope can continue with each breath. And so the Buddha himself, besides those three refuge, the capacity to awaken, the recognition and capacity to hold the Dharma, to understand it, to enact it, embody it, to be it, and then the capacity to do so to begin, at least with spiritual friends who are holding us the same aspiration. Then the second knot is, and what guards do we need? And how do we establish those so that we're okay? And those guards are sometimes called precepts. Precepts. And the precepts in a householding community like ours, no monastics here, would be the basic five. And if you know any of them, would you write them in chat? What do you know about the precepts? If you don't have a chat capacity or don't know how to use it well, just come on, raise your hand, come on and say, what are they? What do you understand about the basic five precepts? We're going to call those guards for one's karmic merits. Anybody know? Kindness, Kindness is embedded in it all, certainly, Dennis, and maybe does qualify as the right action in the first precept, which is non harming. To do no harm. Thank you very much, Tanya. Yeah, to do no harm. Remember when I said we're going to get an F pretty consistently? Well, it starts right there, doesn't it really? Just smack right there, like non harm. And I could see you all wince a little, like, oh, right? Uh, like in the last 30 seconds, we've probably uh, committed some kind of harm, intentioned and unintentioned, and intentioned in this, unintentioned in this way. Uh, you've probably had the thought already, I'm never going to be good at this. There's no hope for me. I'm just, I'm going to have to do this for lifetimes. There's right. And there is a harshness and a lack of true understanding, I'm going to say, right there. It's also harming in that we can, rather than inspire ourselves, we can work in the reverse, which is how causing harm by believing I'm not capable, I don't have what it takes, I am unworthy, uh, I have to do this for a couple thousand years before I get good at it, whatever we think that ridiculous idea would be. And so, really, even right there, they're called seed thoughts. We even know that those seed thoughts cause harm because you believe them. You're repeating them, whether you even know you are or you don't. And then you're propagating that truth because you believe them with hopelessness. Let me just start with one emotion. What would be another emotion you could imagine? Somebody who's going, I just don't have what it takes here, besides hopelessness, frustration, irritation, aggravation, right? Because I'm just not getting this. Shame. Thank you so much, Courtney. A big one. Deciding that the whole being is somehow failed, uh, right? False and fucked up. And then it doesn't end there, though, does it? Then what happens once we buy into that belief thought? Where does it go from there? We often quit. I did it about 100,000 times at least. And I blamed everybody else, really. My teacher, God, she's so old. Now I think she's so young. I don't think she's old at all. I'm going, oh my God, she was a spring chicken. She was too old. The Sangha was too old. They were all heady. They were all UCSD professors who talked about stuff. I was like, what? I don't even know what you're saying, right? The whole time. I blamed everybody. It was too far. Uh, what other, you know them, don't you? I got so many other things to do. I, right? All from that basic seed thought. And the basic seed thought, the most harming that led to all other harm, by the way, was the belief thought, I just can't get this. And the minute you buy into that, you buy into the reality that nobody can get it, that nobody's worthy of it, that nobody's deserving of it. And then you can enact harm on others. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you see how that one belief thought becomes really just rife with a problem on the path for us? And so we're guarding our own minds. And that's the point of our meditation practice. We're guarding our own minds. We're recognizing the habit of our own harming, unskillful, right? Not with judgment, not with hatred, not with, well, but 9 times I got it right. So even that, we don't do that either. We just go, what are the causes of this? Why is this coming up right now? Why am I, as she's talking about these real opportunities, for having a happy, easeful, connected, loving life, why am I thinking, ugh, it just seems too hard, right? Don't we? It just seems too hard because, in fact, on the path, rightly, we are going to fail. And nobody likes that, do we? Nobody likes the idea. We all want an A, don't we? We all want, yeah, we all want to go, I got it. And in this practice, there's no hope for this. And you notice that I keep talking about all the ways that I keep failing to inspire you to be able to say, me too. I didn't get it right either. I just made, I don't know, whole set of aspirations uh, in the new year, along with this whole beautiful collective heart mind of new beginning and right. And I just thought yesterday, I haven't even written in my journal in 2 days. The journal I committed to writing in every day. Not only did I not write in the journal, I didn't write in the journal because what I was going to have to write was, I didn't do that. I didn't do that either. And I thought, why write that down? Right? Because, well, so that I can recommit, so that I can begin today, so that I can say, it's all right. Uh, what were the conditions for that? Right? And then, really, with honesty, with compassion and kindness, just begin again today. I'm going to. I feel very committed, recognizing the kind of slinking away from the truth, right? Not the journal, right? So we get this. So let's go back. I know we're going over our silent sitting. We'll do that in a minute. I really want to work on this. Yes, Greg, the overarching is do no harm in all directions. That is completely correct. If you only could remember those words, uh, I think you'd be getting somewhere. To do no harm, yes. Overarching, yes. The precept, right speech, yes. Right speech is certainly one of the basic precepts. It's the one I fail in most consistently. I feel pretty certain because speech is so habitual, right? It's so connected so quickly to the brain stem. There's very little distance between these two apparatus, right? That very quickly I've said it uh, in either a tone that wasn't consistent with my aspiration, language that had some condemning, criticizing, demanding quality, diminishing or minimizing, frustrating, right? Whatever those things are. And so, right speech. And the very basic piece of that right speech is just to not say things that aren't true. Uh, that would be a beautiful start, just not to say things that aren't true. And
I
then,
think,
yeah,
yeah, I think the whole thing on being truthful is I'm kind of smiling because I just I could find myself at times trying to bolster myself, bolster my
yes,
age, and so
yes,
where's that coming from?
yes,
It's coming maybe from a little bit of lack, a feeling of lack.
yes,
So wanting to sort of do something to sort of build it up, build myself up. And it's sneaky,
yeah,
and then, catch yourself before you actually are in the act of doing it. That's important. I mean, you talk about it's in there in the brain, it's sort of a natural thing that we maybe want to do. And so the important thing is to be able to see it,
that's right.
before you actually act on
If you can. Most of us won't begin there. I love what you're saying, though, Greg, because the teachings say catch it before you do it. If you don't catch it before you do it, catch it while you're doing it.
it.
And if you can't catch it while you're doing it, catch it after you did it. And if you can't catch it after you did it, catch it the next time, right? Look at the beauty of this, right? Isn't it lovely? There's no place to get it. You just keep awakening. You just keep getting present. You just so even when you didn't get it, even when you reflect back, like I just did, I got goosebumps on it. I went, oh, probably. I didn't probably need to say that. Actually, I was grateful because that's the path. Get back, right? You're now back. You're now awakened. You're now most present. You can enliven your very commitment right there. Like, ooh, that didn't even feel good. That isn't even the way I want to be. This isn't even the thoughts I want to carry with me because they don't feel good in the belly. They don't feel good in the throat, do they? They don't feel good in the heart mind either. And so we know them at some point, if for no other reason than our own suffering, right? Our own distress, our own flagging sense of hope or aspiration. We can already know we're causing harm in some way to ourselves. And yes, we only want to bolster that which already feels insufficient. Greg said it. You would never need to bolster a thing that you already knew was valuable, worthy, deserving, committed, which you wouldn't need, there'd be nothing to hold up. It would be light and easeful, and you just say, yeah, I keep trying. I'm continuing to work on it. So, right speech, Leslie, yes, thank you so much. Right action is one of the overarching Noble Eightfold paths. And in that right action, Margie, the precepts say things like don't take stuff that you don't need, right? And sometimes we call that stealing, but I think it's bigger. And in our culture, I think it's way bigger. I think we all have too much. I think we have things we don't really need. And I don't think that's skillful either. And I'll put myself at the top of that list. The book I never read, the shoes I never wore, right? Now, I think there's a way to work with that, which is then how can I use them now? How can I recognize even then what that impulse was or what I think I need this right now? And then how can I begin again? Right. I think we have to, that right action, one of them is certainly the consumer, the capacity to consume way more than we need. So yes, so not lying, not gossiping, not uh, uh, talking about each other, not stealing, not taking things you don't need, not consuming things you don't need would certainly be another. That would include then also things like substances, not just material goods, but things like food, things like drugs, things like alcohol, things that in some way numb or dull uh, the mind in or delude the mind really in any way. We would not want to do that because then we can't see clearly, in fact, what is most needed. And then we develop habits and sometimes addictive patterns, right, as well around that. Tanya,
And
yeah, go ahead, Greg.
just, the one of the really biggest ones right now that we all need to be completely aware of is not harming the earth.
Boy,
And we do it all the time. And to sort of be able to see where it is that we are harming the earth, where we sort of we're taking things for granted.
yes,
That this is just what we can do and it's not going to hurt anything. Well, guess what?
yeah,
The Santa Ana winds, these fires and stuff are a direct consequence of that harm,
yes,
and we're all in there.
yes, we are.
And so, what can we do? I mean, obviously, we can't just stop driving around because everything's set up for that.
Right,
What can we do in that regard? So there's a big picture here that we need to keep in mind.
yes, that's exactly right. And it's very easy then in the big picture to get into that hopelessness, isn't it? It's very easy to climb from, uh, look at all the damage we've done, and there's no way I'm going to fix all that. And the truth is, yes, you are, because you can consume less, you can drive in a way that's most responsible, least you can propagate the earth like Pete does, to steward land, to care for it, to provide, right? There's an infinite, you can recycle, you can reuse, right? There's no end to the ways we can all participate. And then the truth also is it is a big task, but who better to do it? Who better? One moment at a time. Leslie wrote Right Diet as well. That's that same consuming, not only, by the way, then consuming in the mouth, but consuming in all the sense stores, right? And really recognizing where that is for us. I don't, we haven't been watching TV. I feel so much more easeful. By the way, the TV wasn't anything particular, right? It wasn't horrible. It wasn't, I don't watch the news, I read it. Um, right? It wasn't the, and really just the quiet in the evening for me has been such an amazing contribution. I can't honestly get over it because I certainly wouldn't have said it was a problem. Uh, oh, just one way for me to be with my husband who likes TV. And the beauty of this is then when I decided not to watch so much TV, he got his books back out and is now reading his books and actually saying, yeah, this feels better to me too. Right. So, this is the impact we have really by just moving ourselves towards right conduct, wise action, and skillfulness is by our very being. We inspire others. Right. So that second knot really is those bases. We're going to put the big heading non harming behavior over it. And then we're going to include all of the other big and small behaviors that we're just naming here. Like, I like what Greg said here. I'll read it and then we're going to sit. Lying to others and to myself. Yeah, I think the biggest lies we tell are to ourselves. Honestly, I think the others are just second victims. You could call that collateral, right? The real harm is that you did it to you, that you bought into it with you, really beginning with, I am not somehow capable, worthy, or deserving of this. And then from there you go, nah, so what does it matter? Right? You buy in all the way. And then that unskillful action propagates that mind, which propagates that unskill, and then on to samsara we go, all of us. And in any moment, as a reminder, we wake up. And the beauty of that, right? Any moment you go, I see that. I don't actually need to quite do it like that. I don't need to continue again and again and again until the river's current, right, is running what we call true, true, true to who we really are. I'm working on it. You're working on it. And that's the point of our meditation practice is to take some time in stillness to rest the mind body uh, in itself, to really create space and room, and then an essential warmth, isn't it? To go, it's okay. I just begin here. And then we try to take that cultivated heart mind into the day, right? After resting in it. Now, I've had a lot of trouble over the last 17 or 18 years to get anybody to do this every day because we're so busy. Yes, part of the problem is this. Just like that harm that Greg said we're doing it to ourselves every single day as we go. I don't have time to take a couple breaths. I don't have time to sit for 10 minutes before rushing off into the X and Y's and Z's of my day. And the truth is, and we know it's true, you're not rushing off well. You're not. You're not rushing off connected. And if not connected to you, what hope then to connect to things like subtle behaviors? others who are in their infinite disguises as Buddhas, the earth itself, right? Then the disregard, as we have disregarded ourselves, continues and continues and propagates, right? And so, reminder again in this new year, can we commit ourselves to some amount of time, both alone and then in community? We're going to be here to do this. Now we have 4 times a week, just like this, to rest in our capacities, right? My capacity and yours. I want to rest in it with you because then I remember I'm not alone in this. I'm doing it with you. You're doing it with me. We can only then be successful in it, right? All right. So let's sit together. I wanted to talk about that because we've missed it a couple times, and I don't want us going forward without really some deep understanding. We don't think of this as rules. We think of it as opportunities, as guardrails, as supports for our happiness, for our ease, and for our well being and the well being of others. And so we're going to rest in that quality, that Buddha being quality of ours, feeling just the sense of the Buddha body sitting here, the bright, radiant Buddha mind, clear seeing, knowing the truth as the truth. I'm going to give us about 7 or 8 minutes of silence and then a little bit of guidance to carry us into the day. So let's just begin feeling this body and the luminous, radiant, brilliant warmth, light, energy of our aspirations and rest in this. feeling this felt sense of this right relationship, this gentle, friendly, kind, and compassionate attitude of attention directed to begin towards ourselves. And see if you can't really feel the effects of this little bit of time, this greater sense of ease or stability or wholeness, one's capacity for presence, for abiding all life's circumstances, those we like and those we don't. And that remembering that we already have right here, just right now, exactly what we need. And we just keep igniting that aspiration. May I be awake. May I be most skillful. May I be non harming. And beginning with myself here for just these few moments, setting the table for the feast of care, compassion, kindness. And then taking a moment to reflect on your own precepts. What have you committed to? How are you planning to prepare the table for the feast of your own life? Just moment by moment. And that very likely looks like a set of aspirations or intentions towards that goodness, towards realizing, embodying that goodness as completely as possible. These precepts are one of the points of refuge, supports essential scaffolding, protecting us from otherwise afflictive mind habits. And we all need them. And recommitting ourselves then just now, once again, to the propagation of that good, to the commitment of these joyful endeavors that we call precepts, towards your happiness and your well being, and the happiness and well being of all beings. And let's see if we can't create a little more space, a little more room, a little bit more friendliness for this forgetting. And then with gratitude, with joy, the remembering, which is the essential path. And since we're going to forget, as a part of this being human, how we form relationship to that forgetting is the awakening. That we smile, we pat ourselves right in the heart for this awakening and forgive ourselves again and again for what we can't yet see, we can't yet do. And we commit ourselves once again and again. And see if you can't create that very sense of space, room, and warmth for yourself right now, recognizing our humanness, as being a part of being human. We commit ourselves once again. And letting that warmth radiate beyond the heart into the whole of the mind body, supporting you, nourishing you, cultivating that Buddha that is you. And then extending that warmth beyond your own mind body in all directions, letting it touch all beings, all things. You can very easily, very wisely call specific others to mind. Both those we know, and then, of course, those we don't know who are in need. And then, very specifically, right now, calling to mind all those who are struggling with the fires, the firemen, those who are evacuated, those who have lost homes and loved ones and pets, those who are displaced, and those who will never recover fully. And commitment beginning here, right now, to them. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free from affliction and suffering. And if you notice that quality of heart mind, that one that says, I don't have anything to contribute, I can't fix this, I don't have the resource, just remember that that's just simply not true. You have this moment in which you can set the mind towards others' benefit. And then we find all kinds of ways. And just inviting the whole heart mind back to the body, just checking back in, seeing how you are. And when you're ready, you can invite a gentle movement or whatever movement it would be useful for you as we now take this awakened heart mind into the world as we open our eyes. And so, any other thoughts, questions about the precepts and how they are our essential friend, an essential friend, not the problem, not the rules. There's no hard and fast. Right.
Righteousness.
Right. Say it again, Greg.
Righteousness is this sort of, I think it almost could have been a sixth precept, although I think it does fall under truthfulness, because we're really lying to ourselves with righteousness. And it comes in all forms. And it's the ego kind of reifying itself.
Yes.
We talked about bolstering. It's that. Uh, it's the basis for fundamentalism.
Yeah.
And it's and I see myself doing it. So I'll share something from yesterday. I'm coming back from UCSD, and this lady does this U-turn, illegal U-turn right in front of me. I'm not starting to make a right turn, and she does this illegal U-turn. You're not supposed to turn there, but she does it anyway. And this sudden flash of righteousness on my part, you can't do that.
The thing you're already doing.
Who
Yeah.
do you think you are? I don't even know why she did it, of course. Maybe she was late for work and she said, I think I can get in there just in time. Which she kind of did. I mean, I slowed down enough, so I gave her room. And then there was a part of me, I could just feel it because I'm coming up alongside of her that kind of wants to go, lady, but I stopped myself. Okay.
You did it wrong, just so you know.
Let's just open the heart here. And I think the other thing about righteousness is it's like this blinder. How could you have bodhicitta with righteousness? They're like opposites, It just
Yeah.
can't happen,
Yes, that's right. It cannot happen from that mind
right?
that goes, I'm right and you're wrong. I've got it, you don't got it. I'm a meditator, you're a sloth. Uh, I'm spiritual, you're pathetic. Uh, right. Any of those separating. Uh, and then we have this opportunity, all of us, to remember how we too are making U-turns all over the place, literally, figuratively, rhetorically, and otherwise. How we have uh, caused harm. We have violated others. We have made the mistake, not to flagellate, not with criticism, judgment, but with the deep understanding that if I believe somehow you don't have it, that it's simple reification. You said it earlier, Greg, is because I believe I don't have it either. You said it. The only point of the ego is to hold up its failing self, like, ugh, um, right? Otherwise, you would never need to be right. I remember this every day. Like, what am I thinking? What am I think? Right about what? Left or right? There's no right in it. You turn, no, you turn. There's no right in it. We're all failed. And I don't mean that again in a harsh way. I mean, can I see my own contribution to the harm here? And then can I get a hold of that, even if um, the other did it wrong? And it doesn't mean there's not any action to take. I'm not suggesting that. This is not a passive process. But it certainly wouldn't be, do you realize what an idiot you are? There would be no value, there would be no benefit. Speaking of these kinds of issues, my husband yesterday, again, a person does a wrong thing. It's clearly the not consistent with the rules, and he's a good rule follower, and so he gets pretty mad, and he's going like this to the person, and I like see this and went, the problem with that would be uh, somebody's gonna decide your righteousness is not what they needed that morning. And we're going to propagate harm in all kinds of directions now, right? Because they're going to get out of their car, come right on over to you. And now we've got harm upon harm, right? You can see the propagation of it all over the place. And the only thing I could think is, what could I say now that doesn't further this? What could I say? Rather than my old habit of, you're a dope who's going to get us killed, which would have been something I solidly would have said not all that long ago. I went, I understand how frustrating it is, but what can we do now? What can we do now? And my husband, in his infinite Buddha wisdom, said, let it go. We can let it go because they're gone. There's just us here, and we don't need to further this. That was the best we were gonna, for now, right? Doesn't mean it's the end either, right? And I thought, at least because I'm in the face of the humanness, what can we each do so as not to propagate harm, furthering harm in that moment? That might be the best we do, right? That might be the best we do, not to join the sense of separation, disconnect, judgment, and separating by I got it, you don't got it, or you got it, I don't got it. We do it in all kinds of ways. Just so you all know, we are going EMC. I devoted, committed, and dedicated the Donna from the all day. Pete, I don't know if Pete's here, but Pete offered the um, Donna for his space. Uh, some of our members have donated monies that we are going to send to the California Firefighters Association. I've been looking with Captain Sergio Mora at where can we get the greatest benefit to the most immediate need. And actually, they do have a real need, and it's for something called fire shelters, which are places where the firefighters can go. It's a little enclosure in the middle of a fire to be safe from it. It's an engineer like Greg might know more about this than I do, but it's even in the midst of a fire, there's a place that they set up where if in danger, they can go. They don't have enough of those. And so we can contribute to the purchase of those as well as to these certain water packs, which carry 3 liters of water for them. Even in the midst of the fire, the water doesn't evaporate. It's, again, a technology Greg probably would understand better. They're quite special. They're not just camelbacks like we all use. They have to be solidly protected because they need to keep drinking in the middle, and they don't have enough of those either. So those are 2 things we can make direct contributions to towards the firefighters who are not only continuing their efforts, but we're realizing might need to continue longer than we imagined, and others. We're looking still, but just so that you know, if you want to contribute to that effort, you can go to Venmo at EMC Mindfulness, contribute in that way, and I will put the link for our this is what we can do right now. And there is no amount of need that is being met. So just know there's infinite ways and possibilities to contribute and help. There's all kinds of organizations, the LA Firefighters Association, the Fire Relief Fund. If you're interested, curious, the LA Food Bank is asking for donations because they're out of food. We have contributed significantly to World Central Kitchen, who is on the ground there, providing warm meals to people who have been evacuated. So again, it's infinite. And this is where I felt like we could contribute right now because I know that people forget about the firefighters in the midst of all this to try to help rightly all the people who have been displaced. But I want to make sure those guys are okay too. Uh, it's easy to forget that the first responders need supports. And so we're going to do what we can there. I'll keep you posted on all of that. And then the only other thing that I have is that Lynn up there in the top row for me is very generously, graciously committed to being our Philabelly liaison. And yay, Lynn. And Greg is going to be our board liaison, is going to also be helping with that. And Lynn is going to start talking soon about how we can prepare well for our next Philabelly, which will be on February 27th. So she'll be having signups and all those kinds of things coming soon. So just know that's going to be happening. And I think on February 11th, we will be doing our St. Andrew's food drive. So foods and or money for food that we go shopping at Dollar Tree for would be great. Any and all of that helps. And beyond that, your own practice is a contribution. And so if you go, wow, I can't do this and I can't do that, what you can do is bring a caring, open, stable mind to this world that is in desperate need of that from you. Um, Let me see what we have here. Pete says, I like that idea. Offering refuge to the firefighters feels right. It really did for me too, Pete, not only because Pete works with first responders, right? So there'd certainly be a soft spot there. But I think we can just assume that that's just happening. Like they're just there. And they aren't. They're human. They have families. Their families are in need as well as them. But right now, we're just going to try to handle the need, most immediate need, so that everyone can be safe in this effort. There's likely going to be all kinds of continuing efforts, of course. Yes, they have command centers for the crews and commanders. Yep, as well as locations for equipment. That's right. And they're running short, if not completely already short on all that. So just know things we can do always, every day, in every way, every moment, and beginning again to do them, even when in a particular moment we saw ourselves frustrated, angry, hopeless, or despairing about our circumstance. We can remember that there is a contribution we can make by our very own quality of heart mind, and that is the essential beginning. Everything else, good and right, will come from it. So that's for me. Anything else about the precepts? Let's not think of them as rules. They are true refuge. They're there to protect you, um, honestly. And to see them otherwise, I think, is our habit, um, and a kind of black and white quality of I did it, I didn't do it. No, that is cannot be skillfully used once we get ourselves there, can it? Because then we will just simply all quit. And if I kept that mind, I'd be quitting with you because of ugh, who can possibly do this? Refuge. What Greg said about the command centers and having equipment at right locations, I think we could do that with our own heart minds, right? We can have the right equipment at the right location for ourselves with these precepts. That's completely right equipment, if we could think of them that way. Things to resource us um, is really their full intention. When we are in alignment with the precepts, there is peace. Yeah. And then space. And then you are refuge. See, that's beautifully said, Greg. That's exactly right. And in that spaciousness, you're refuge. You are a shelter. Now, not only to you, number one, but now to others. Is it right? It could not be any other way. There's space there for it. And so, but we have to kind of keep cleaning house a little bit, keep attending so that we don't fill it up with unnecessary things that just get in the way of that real purpose and intention. Tanya says, kind of feel them as helpful reminders when I lose my way. Yeah, it is. We can always just call them to mind. And I like to remember the ones I haven't violated right now as my beginning. So like, okay, haven't killed anybody. Good start. Good start. All right. I haven't right. I didn't take anything. This is good. I right. And then I go, and then maybe I could have said that with a little less vinegar. Maybe I could have thought rather than you over there, we all. Just that one change. Just a pronoun problem. You, nothing. We all. Right. That's the truth. And when I can remember just that one little mental switch to no, we all struggle in this way, it helps me not separate into me and you or us and them. We all is a good way for that. How about that gopher? Are we talking about? Yeah, how about that gopher? What do we all are leaving that gopher alone right now. In my yard, I happen to have one. He's eaten, I think, part of the Bodhi tree. He's found some shoots or something over there. Uh, I'm working really hard on seeing us all as, essential and kind of leaving him alone. I notice as I'm leaving him alone, he's not digging up the whole yard. This is probably just luck uh, on my part, but uh, how do we do it? Sometimes the truth is just talking about something fun like a gopher. Sometimes I can do it, and then when the whole yard, right, I get overwhelmed and I can't do this, and then I fall prey. And it's something where it's constant. It's a constant attention, isn't it? I wish it were as simple as just the gopher. The quality of my own mind uh, too often is murderous, and the gopher is the least of it. And so, can I just recognize that habit and then, right, at least catch it as I'm ready to think about killing the gopher? Uh, I've already killed, by my mind, thousands, usually way before I even got to the gopher. My squirrel loves the new bok choy. Yes, they do. The squirrels do love bok choy, and they're very tender little shoots. So, how nice of you, Dennis, to feed them in that fabulous way. I've been thinking about a little chicken wire uh, to keep my parsley and some of my fresh shoots uh, okay. I don't know. I haven't figured out how I'm going to handle that just yet. But these are lovely considerations. I think the bigger ones are actually how do I manage the mind that establishes the other as other, the gopher, the squirrel, the partner, uh, the people who, you know, uh, may have contributed to the fire, for example, right, all the way down the line. So let's get ready, if there's not more, to offer our Bodhisattva aspiration. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are free from sorrow and all are awakened. We dedicate these merits to all those who are dealing with the fire, who are victim to the fire who have losses as a result of the fire. May we remember that we too are as vulnerable and will be calling to others as well in our time of need. May we respond as we would wish to be responded to. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we rejoice, be grateful, and glad for our good fortune and offer whatever we can to the good fortune and safety of others. May we rest in this vast, open, infinite, and luminous heart mind, refuge not only for ourselves, but for all beings. May it be so. May it be so. So be it. Thank you all so much for your practice, for your being here, for your kindness, your generosity in these difficult times. We're all going to need each other in this life, so we contribute what we can. Thursday is Greg. He'll be on. Saturday, we will be here in the garden. Please join us. It's been an amazingly mild winter. And so the garden has been really quite enjoyable. We have not had too much cold to work against. It's been really very pleasant for us. And then I will be here at least another 2 Saturdays, I think, before I head out to New Zealand, Australia for the month of February, where we will be continuing, of course, our practice. And sometimes on Zoom, we're going to get that figured out and get a schedule together. We're working on that now so that everybody knows what we're doing, but we stay in practice on these days just like this. And so that will not be different at all. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you all sometime soon. It sounds like I'm reading mint lavender seems to help deter. I think marigolds is a deterrent. Yeah, we've got some of those in the garden. And, you know, even bugs are our friends. We try to be kind to them. Yeah, try to be kind to them too, as best we can. All right, everyone, be well. Good to see you. See you Thursday, maybe Saturday or Sunday. Be well, everyone.
Thank you.